This week we're talking about James chapter 5 verses 1 through 6. It's a specific chapter where James comes out and just begins talking about monetary wealth. Again, and he's saying, listen, you rich people, weep and wail. Don't don't take pride in your wealth, because moths are going to eat your clothes, and rust is going to corrupt that which you think is incorruptible, and problems are going to be yours. And it's interesting when he uses the word wail in verse 1. It's a onomatopoetic word. If you're my age bracket, you remember the old Batman and Robin series, the original made-for-TV series that had Burt Ward as Robin and Adam West as Batman, and you would hear kersplat, kaplunk, and your screen would turn from you know great footage of the Cape Crusaders to this erratic thought bubbles of onomatopoeia words, and that just means that the sound of the word actually describes the meaning of the word more accurately than really a dictionary's definition would. And so it'd be, you'd hear all these random words, and wail in the Greek that James is using to say to you rich people, shriek! It's going to bust forth through your mouth when you realize that the things that you have valued so greatly really aren't going to be satisfying when you stand before God. And something that had happened in that time, a lot of the wealthy people owned land, and they would pay day laborers in Palestine to harvest for them on their behalf. And what obviously in this passage was taking place, they weren't paying the day laborers on time. And the rule was, as established in Leviticus 19 and even in Deuteronomy, it talks about paying the laborer every day for their work. And the reason for that is day laborers in Palestine, they lived just above starvation level. They were the exclamation point of poverty. They had to work each day to buy food to live on the next day. And James is saying, man, what you're doing, it's messed up. It's not right. It's not profitable. And there's coming a time that you will account for it. And so that's really the basis of our study. And maybe you're thinking, all right, Pastor, that's cool. I like studying about rich people because I'm not rich. Look, if you live in the United States and you own one vehicle, I've got news for you. According to the global standards, you're wealthy. It's amazing how many thousands of people will die today because of a lack of clean drinking water and the diseases that are born out of a lack of clean drinking water. We live in a nation, not necessarily of monetary excess, but we certainly live in a nation of material excess. We have an incredible, excessive amount of stuff. Matter of fact, we go into great debt to get more excess of stuff. And my question to you is simple. Does God have access to your excess? Does God have access to your heart in a way that it defines where you spend your influence, where you spend your dollars, where you invest your life? Because that's the major question. Look, I know it's not popular to talk about money, especially for a pastor. I get it. But do you realize that Jesus talked more about money than any other topic except the kingdom of God? And there's a reason, because money has such an incredible death grip on our heart. It has such an incredible death grip on our priorities. And so this isn't a message or a study saying, oh, you better pay up, man. It's none of that stuff. It's really a message and a study asking the deeper question. How do you determine what is wealth? How do you determine what your priorities are when it comes to money and stuff? And my hope for you is that you'll swim upstream to the cultural current that says live over your head in debt and always be a slave to the lender and constantly live in fear of not enough. And so I hope as you go through the study that you'll find some places to hang on to, Just like a rock climber is always looking for the next place to grab a footing or a stronghold, a place to grip onto and scale the rock. And if you've ever seen a rock climber and you look up and you're going, man alive, that looks unreal. I don't even know how they do it. Well, they don't do it by accident. That I can tell you. And if getting a handle on your finances scares you to death, getting out of that fear mode won't happen by accident either. So I hope that this is a time that really will spur some thoughts for you. So just like the rock climber, I hope that you'll look for ways to find what the next identifiable step is for you to give God access completely to your heart and to your life. And believe me, when God is given and granted access to our lives, our priorities shift, and the climb becomes predictable and accomplishable or achievable.